welcome back to the channel. 23 here, and I'm coming to you with an LBR Universe Rep team guide. Now, this LBR season is very different to most of the other ones. Usually it's just a tag and minor conditions like Dragon Balls down. This season's very different. Look, if I come down here, the match rules. Let's go right down to the bottom. Special rules. Battle duration 100 timer counts. 30% to own damage inflicted when battle starts. So, what does this mean? Units are going to be doing a lot more damage and there's much less time. So the way you want to go about this LBR is very different. Last LBR was a regen LBR. I did go 9-1. So this is how I've set up the team. I don't have Ultra Hit unfortunately, and neither do I have Go Freezer. Frost is representing Go Freezer on the top right, and obviously Hit in the top left in the leader slot. And I know UI's down there. You're thinking, UI? I know, it's crazy. If you don't have Hit, you should probably go with UI. I'll explain just shortly. And Jiren is a very good option if you're trying to counter Go Freezer. And Android 17 is pretty much a must. And let me explain. So this season, the winner of each match is pretty much going to be based on damage. So you really want to build your team as tanky as you can. You need a tank. You need someone that is not going to take that much damage. And that's what I'm saying. If you are a good player, you should probably go with UI, because think about how much damage you can avoid taking and how much longer you can draw out the matches.
He's just standing there, menacingly.
A lot of people aren't going to want to initiate. So MUI might actually be a very solid option, although he is a bit squishy. But let's remember, he's got his cover changes, he's got his gauge. I also don't have the revival UI, and that could potentially be a very good unit. It's mainly because he's got the gauge, right? But after he transforms. But he is super squishy in the start and he will take a lot of damage. Obviously, we're going to have to go into the games and see if these games are going to go to counts, because 30% extra damage is a lot, considering we're getting boost units. Like, people are running around with boost units that are already like got crazy featured boost. They're going to hit hard. So this Jiren could be a potentially good option, but my worry is Hit. Now, whenever I try and build these teams, I really want to just look at who is going to be seen the most, and I'm ready to bet it's probably going to be Hit, Go Freezer. So Android 17 is kind of a big one. If you don't have Android 17, you're gonna need a blue. So maybe you go Beerus. I mean, there isn't many options when it comes to blue on the Unireps team. So if you haven't got a blue, I'm sorry, you're gonna need a blue. It will make a world of a difference. My only worry for this Jiren, like I said, is Hit. I feel like if he gets time skipped, the damage that the opponent is gonna get is a lot. So you gotta be super careful. I suggest maybe having an alternative. If someone does bring Hit, this is how I'd set it up. Maybe replace MUI with the Revival Goku if you've got him. I mean, looking at everything else, they're just not good enough. This Kawaii, she's pretty good, but you're going to need a high stars. She is squishy, and skill level is going to be super important in this situation, right? If you're not that skilled, you don't really know how to use those green cards properly, don't use her. But if you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing, right? But I think this is the setup. Obviously not everyone's going to have hit, so that's why I feel like Jiren does need to stay on this bench, because in the event that they don't have hit and they do have Go Freezer, this Jiren is going to take a lot of hits. He's not going to take too much damage. So remember, when you're going into this season, damage is king. So you need some tanks. I may even suggest going double tank. Go for it. This unit here, he is good. He is good. He can bring a lot of value to the team. But I'm taking MUI over this guy. I know he's got featured boost. I know he's a new unit. Maybe if you've got a lot of stars on him, go for it. I mean, he is reducing sub count. What else does he do? He's reducing sub count. He's got draw speed. He's a solid unit. But because damage is king, honestly, sitting back might be the way. Other alternatives. This Vegeta is pretty good for damage output, but ultimately I feel like the people that are going to perform the best this season are the people that are just not going to get hit. Android 17's got double vanishes. MUI's got he's gauge, so does the revival UI. The only worry is he's going to take a lot of damage before he transforms, but regardless, this is how you want to go into the game. So before we wrap up the video, I am going to give you guys some tips just so you're a bit more prepared. I do this all the time, you know, the teams that I suggest are the teams that I use, and nowadays I am recording like my LBR performances, just like the last LBR. I did go 9-1, so if you're going for that flawless tag, if you've got a stacked uni rep team, you got to go for this. Tip number 1, and I say this all the time, do not play your games on the first day. Do not play your games on the second day. Probably shouldn't play your games on the third day either. But stagger your games. The reason I say this is because of how the matchmaking works. So if you didn't know, LBR, the people you play against is pretty much going to be whoever has a similar amount of points to you. Every time you win a game, I believe you gain 600 points, or is it 500 points? But when you lose points, right? So the problem is, if you go into a game straight away in day 1, everyone's starting on the same like points, right? So you could face anyone. You could face someone that's super good, you could face someone that's super bad, you could face someone that's super laggy. You know, if there's people that are grinding for flawless, 9 times out of 10, if you wait, they would have probably got some of their points already. So you're going to be facing people that have already lost. So that's why I always save my games. I never really play my games until the last 2 days. Sometimes I wait till the last day, but I'd suggest maybe last 3 days, play a few games, come back the next day, play a few more games, finish it off later. It's the best way. It always works. You'll face much easier opponents. I can promise you that. Tip 2. Practice in ranked PvP. Do not go into a game blind or a bit rusty. You're wasting your time. People are going to be prepped. People are going to be ready. You know, that extra bit of practice that you get from ranked PvP is really going to help you, especially with clashes and stuff like that. Just so you're not rusty. Give yourself the best opportunity you can get. And lastly, in game, just keep a cool head. Don't rush anything, and especially this season. 100 counts, damage takes all. You gotta keep a cool head. Take your time. If you have to sit back, because I'm willing to bet everyone else is doing it. That's how I'd suggest going about it. If you got some value from this video, drop a like. A subscription would be nice too. Once again, I do stream on Twitch. Link will be down in the description. And I'll see you in the next one.